Now, just before I get underway, I'll point out I mounted my phone down here, and what's that stack of gauges, you ask? Well, my new electronic ignition system has Bluetooth in it. You can tune it, adjust the timing as you drive. Also has this nice feature, not only a tachometer because the car doesn't have one, but my speedometer is in kilometers. Not great in the US where everything is in miles, so the digital readout is miles per hour. This thing next to it is a little Bluetooth speaker. It's actually an AM/FM radio Bluetooth speaker. Little strip of Velcro there holding it into the dash. Here's the heater controls. Heat, no heat. And if you really need more ventilation, check this out. It's hard to see, but a little flap under the windshield opens up to let air directly into the cabin. Very clever, very minimal. The usual kind of buttons: windshield wiper, windshield washer, hazard flashers. The turn signals are not self-canceling, and that's deliberate. I mean, originally, of course, no cars had them, but when they came out, Citroën made the decision that you should be paying attention to what you're doing when you drive. Things shouldn't be shutting off automatically for you. So it has a pretty loud clicking relay that will remind you that it's on. These days, like I have a Nissan, makes the same kind of clicking noise, but it's a speaker. It's actually playing a wave file of a clicking relay, which I think is a little bit silly, but anyway, this is the real thing. Everything. Oh, look at this. The gear shift. This is the gear shift. Now, right down there is first, second, third, fourth, and it's a little wobbly, so you're never really sure what gear you're in until you let out the clutch. I'm learning, and I've got it down most of the time, but every once in a while I stick it in the wrong place, and she's not happy when I do that. Okay, so the mighty air-cooled two-cylinder opposed 602 cc's, 29 horsepower. And away we go, maybe. Bouncing through the creek. She's got a few little rattles, but I'll chase those down as I own her. A normal car would have bottomed out, maybe flipped over. Not her. Now that horn sounds pretty close to what she should sound like. Unfortunately, when I got her, the horn was crud. I mean, it was awful. So, since I always hated the horn on my Harley because it just wasn't loud enough to let anybody know I was there, and on a motorcycle you kind of want to be obnoxious at times, and that was not doing it. So what you're listening to is actually the horn from my 2022 Harley Softail, and I put a nice loud air horn on the Harley so I can be as obnoxious as I want. Now, if I don't use the tachometer and I just try to listen for the engine sound, she sounds like she's kind of struggling, but the speedometer has red line points. In other words, shift now. And because of her really good basic design, she doesn't mind being revved up to the maximum. So I don't know just how much the camera is going to straighten things out. But I hope you can see just how much she leans over in the turns. There's a story, I don't know if it's true, but I don't see why it wouldn't be, that people were concerned about how far over the 2CV leans in the corners. And Citroën decided if you can roll one, they'll give you one for free. It is virtually impossible, although people did figure out how to do it. If you're in reverse and try to crank a J turn, sort of a, you may remember those from, old James Bond movies, and whenever the guy's trying to get away, slams it in reverse, goes 30 miles an hour, cranks the wheel over and spins it around. Yeah, well, try that in this car, you will wind up on your head. And without a roof, that might not end well. Reduce speed. Yeah, I don't think that really applies to me. 25, I'm up to 26 miles an hour. I'm actually speeding in a 2CV. 2 chevaux. My 2 horses. Giddy up. So you saw the rudimentary heater. And what else? No power steering because there's no power. No power brakes, although they are pretty technically advanced. Like I said, inboard disc brakes. That's racer material there. She did have an ashtray when I got her, but not being French, I took it out. I know in France kids start smoking at 5 and drinking at 6 months, but only wine, so it's okay. But no cup holders, no airbags, no cruise control, just basic motoring. I noticed a few people like to remove the sun visors. I thought that was kind of silly until I realized they don't really do anything. In the up position, they do the same as the window frame. And in the down position, you can't even see where you're going. I can see about 6 feet in front of the car. And I'm not tall. I'm well, according to my driver's license, I'm 5'9". I'm probably 5'8" now as I shrink in my old age. But, yeah, at my size, I don't have to duck to look out through the windshield, but if I put that visor down, I'm not seeing anything. So, they do seem kind of pointless. I may come up with something a little different, but right now, just wear a hat and sunglasses. Everything's cool. Might have her idle set a little bit low. Have to adjust that. That was the town of Marshall, North Carolina. So if you're wondering, should I get one of these crazy little cars? Well, they're pretty rare. Nobody here knows what they are. Parts are available. This guy up in Seattle sells parts. And there are a couple of companies over in Europe. Only takes a few days, so you can get everything you need to get these things on the road. Over in Europe, you can buy a brand new galvanized chassis that will never rust. You can buy every body part for it. It'll be like that old story of this is great granddad's axe. I've replaced the handle 3 times and the head twice, but it's still great granddad's axe. Anyway, so I intend to keep this one. Love the little Quirks. She's like a one vehicle parade. Wherever you go, people wave, people smile. I like that. Passing through life, making people smile. What could be better than that? I know it's hard to see, but that's the French Broad River. I don't know what the name of the French Broad was. Maybe it was GiGi. I hope so. I like to think so. Turns, but what if you don't want to? Yeah, like I said, she's got a couple little rattles, but nothing to be concerned about. She was designed at a time when paved roads were the exception rather than the rule. Any place a horse and buggy could go, pretty much never be able to take a car there. That was the thinking anyway. And I like that.